Today, I'm going to share career advice after 40 years in technology. Welcome back to Tanium Tech Talks. I'm your host, Ashley McGlone. I got a late start in technology at age 12 in 1982. These days, kids are playing with their touch screens in the single digits of age. Back in 1982, it was rare to be that kid in your room playing video games. I got an early start compared to some people, or a late start, depending how you look at it. But anyway, today's show is going to be a little different. Normally, we're on here doing demos of fancy new Tanium things, and that's a lot of fun. But this is really just an unscripted conversation with me from the heart, fireside chat kind of thing. We've got a lot of peers out there in the industry. You probably do too. When you go to LinkedIn, it says open to work. And it's been a rough job market here in technology this year. And I wanted to just take some time and share some thoughts I've put together. Recently, I did a talk at a career day for the computer science department at a college nearby. And I've been thinking about these things for a while, been reviewing them with some of the people that I mentor. And I've kind of refined some of this down to some practical mentoring that I would want to give anybody who's looking for technology career advice, whether you've been in the technology field for decades or if you're just getting started or somewhere in between. I think everybody's going to find something to help them in today's talk. So I usually don't do slides on this show, but I'm going to do slides today. And I've put together, this is literally a whiteboard session with me. If you and I were going to sit in a conference room and you were asking for career advice, these are some things that I would tell you. This is not complete. There's all kinds of career advice out there. These are some things I would like to share with you, what I call from the 80s to AI, lessons learned from 40 years of riding the tech waves. So let's go. I think this will be good today. All right. The year was 1982. Tron came out. It was a good year, right? I've kind of messed with Tron stuff a little bit here on the show. It's been fun. But anyway, it was a good year. Tron. Groundbreaking technology for 1982. It's also the year I got a Commodore VIC-20 for Christmas with a whopping 5K of memory. Don't know how my parents could afford it. My cousin had one. I said, I want one of those, and the rest is history. And so I began my career in IT, technology, I should say, in 82. And I was a nerd in school coming up, and I used my grass cutting money. My grandparents lived around the road, and down at the bottom of the hill was Miss Bloom, and they'd pay me to cut their grass. And I used that grass cutting money to buy a data cassette recorder for my Commodore back in the day, so I could save my programs. Because back then you turned off the computer and it was all gone. You had to type in your program again the next time. It was fun though. Learned basic, and then wasn't too long before I got a Commodore 64. After that, legendary computing devices back in the day. A lot of fun. Here's a picture of me in 1989. Rocking the jean jacket. I actually had hair then on the top of my head instead of my chin. You got a 5 1/4 floppy there, an RCA color TV, joystick, got all the bells and whistles for a home computing experience in the 80s. Lots of fun. And so I've been very blessed in my IT career. So what I want to talk about, so that's where I started. You've seen what I do on the show today, but let's talk about the journey in between and some things that I've picked up over the years. So I'm going to talk about things, a very generic term on purpose, a thing, a technology thing. All right. So you're going to pick your things. This is how I would distill a technology career, right? There's going to be a new thing, and it's going to be exciting. And there's a million new things in technology over the years, and it's easy to find one and get excited about it for a while. And you can learn the new thing, learn how to do the new thing, be an expert. You can upgrade and integrate. migrate the old thing to the new thing. You build a career on the new thing. And then that new thing is going to become the old thing. Your competition's going to get wind of it, and then the support and the bugs are going to climb. And then that new thing becomes the old thing, which we call tech debt, or in terms of people, that new thing becoming an old thing is a stale career, right? And so you kind of repeat this loop like Groundhog Day. The next technology emerges, you learn it, you support it, you upgrade it, migrate it, integrate, all those things, and then you just keep doing that cycle. That's kind of like the IT industry. And so I want to break this down a little bit for you today. So just looking at one snapshot of a point in time in my career, old things and new things. I was working for Microsoft 10 years ago, and I'd actually learned Active Directory in 1999 on the release candidate before Windows 2000 went live. And so that was well into being an old thing 10 years ago, and I saw that. And so then I chose to jump on the new PowerShell thing. Okay, these are my things. Your things are going to be different, right? There's all kinds of technology things. And that was a lot of fun, riding the new PowerShell technology wave. Getting to work with the product team at Microsoft and be that voice of the field, interacting with customers, doing training and consulting around PowerShell is a lot of fun. Speaking at conferences, all that, blogging. And then the Azure new thing came along, and no offense to people that love and enjoy Azure today, but back then when I was doing ARM templates and automating and deployments and so forth in Azure, every few weeks my scripts would break because things kept changing so fast, and I thought, this is a losing battle. If this is going to evolve this fast, I just can't keep up, and it's a losing proposition, I thought. And it just didn't excite me. For some people it did. And hey, if that's you, that's great. It just wasn't my new thing. And that's part of a career journey, is choosing what new things to pursue. So I chose to come over here to Tanium at the time, and it kicked my butt. I remember this was 2017, coming over to Tanium, and the I am Groot from the Marvel universe, right? I am Groot. Everything sounds like I am Groot when you're talking to Groot, and it didn't make any sense to me for it took me a good year before one day I woke up after working for Tanium for years, like, I am Groot. Okay, I get it. I am Groot. I am Groot. It makes sense. Yeah. So a lot of times in technology, it's a matter of beating your head against the keyboard and studying and labbing and trying things until finally you figure it out, right? So anyway, it's been a fun ride here at Tanium. It's not over yet. Don't get the wrong message there. I'm loving things that we get to do here at Tanium. It's been an amazing part of my career. So. But every time there's a new thing that comes out, you kind of repeat that cycle of learning the new thing. Well, what I want to talk about are big new things and little new things. And this is pretty subjective, what I've got on the slide here, but just think of it this way, okay? Big new things in technology are those disruptive industry technologies. All right. They change the way we work and create, and they open the door for what I call modes, a new wave of modes. And we'll look at that, the new ways to work with the technology. So big new things are think like the graphical operating system, Windows. If you go all the way back to the Apple Lisa and those early days of Xerox PARC, Palo Alto Research Center, the very first graphical operating system that Steve Jobs got the demo from. Go look that up. Go watch Triumph of the Nerds. It's a great history documentary on that. Anyway, graphical operating system, the internet, right? Server technology, going from racked servers to virtual servers to containers in the cloud, right? Mobile devices. I got video games in here because I was speaking to some video game students recently. Maybe not. You could make an argument if that's a big thing or a little thing. Video conferencing, I thought I took that out of the slide. Anyway, it's not as big. But here lately, what are the big new things? All right, AI, quantum computing. Those are the big new things right now that you're hearing a lot about. Of course, AI and quantum have been around for a while. It's just they're catching that momentum now. So big new things are disruptive and they open amazing opportunities for the little new things. Now, the little new things are the goods and services based on the big new things. Think about all the different technology implementations and frameworks and vendors that go into implementing people's implementation of that big new thing. I mean, think about what, for example, when drones came out, and now everybody's got one in their back pocket. But all the different companies that spun up, right, making drones, that was a new thing. So the little new things were all the companies and the protocols and the things going on around drone technology, for example. And you can apply that to so many things. And then you can combine multiple new things into a niche, like cryptocurrency, Uber, DoorDash, cloud, mobile, geolocation, SaaS, all this stuff. Anyway, rambling, but there's lots of little new things that are based on the big new things. Okay, so you've got all the vendors associated, the frameworks. Think about if you're a web dev and the different frameworks and languages that emerge, if you're a developer from time to time and the frameworks around those things. So all these things are kind of downstream of the big new things. Big new things, little new things. Think about your career like that. Okay, so then we've got modes. And modes are timeless manifestations of technology things. Okay, these don't really change. These are pretty low change. So you've got, think about expertise and experience, hands-on. Somebody has to be the subject matter expert, the SME, that ninja that you call on when nobody else can figure things out. Think about doing hard things, difficult jobs where the one example I've used in the past, like Mike Rowe and dirty jobs, right? I don't know anybody in IT really that enjoys doing like certificate work, for example, but you pick that and you become an expert in that dirty jobs type thing of IT, right? People's going to be calling on you because they don't want to touch it, but you're going to come in, you're going to know it, you're going to be the master, right? You're going to be the expert. But you pick any new technology, it's scary to people because they don't understand it. But if you jump in and become the person that understands it, that's a real opportunity. Okay, you can take the software angle or the hardware angle. You can do security. A lot of the people that watch this show are in cybersecurity. Okay, maybe you're in legal or compliance. Somebody's got to sell the new thing. Okay, entrepreneurs are going to start up a lot of businesses around these brand new things, these disruptive technologies. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. It's high risk, high reward, and a lot of those fail, but the ones that succeed, wow, that's amazing. Professional services, consulting, right? And these things, education, training. I've done a lot of my career in training and writing about technology. That's a great way to pursue it. Marketing and journalism, people who just get paid to talk about the new things and write articles and do podcasts and so forth, right? Integration, migration, you got to bridge the old and new. Support, that's a whole category of technology. Somebody's got to be there to answer the calls and to answer the emails and support things. And some people live in that dirty job of, filing bug reports and feature requests, and that's what you do every day. I say it's a dirty job, but a lot of people enjoy that, right? It's all a matter of perspective. Operators, people who are, like a lot of people watch the show are IT operations, right? You set up the technology, you implement it, you support it, you roll it out, deploy all that, configure it, administration. Then there's the users, and those are usually the people that call us, right? So think about all these big new things, little new things, and then you've got these modes. These things, no matter, for decades, this hasn't changed much. Somebody's got to sell it, support it, implement it. Somebody's got to be the expert, right? So some observations here. If you think of it like this bell curve, you've got the brand new thing that lands, right? And what happens typically as you start climbing that curve is think about cryptocurrency, for example. I just heard a headline the other day where some crypto company startup attackers had come in and basically taken away their entire company. because it wasn't secure, and they were trying to beg and negotiate with those adversaries to get some of their company back and give them a cut, something like that, right? I mean, laws around cybersecurity, compliance frameworks. These are the things that lag when you've got a brand new technology. It takes a while for them to catch up. And so during that time, you want a career in cybersecurity or technology security, just look at any one of these new things when they break and just pursue the security angle of it. That's a career maker right there, because there's this big lag, and hackers take advantage of that, and they run circles around people who are early adopters because there's not the security practices typically there. So what happens at the top of the curve is what we call consolidation. These big new things have a lot of little things that the companies, the goods and services that spin up around the big new things. Those goods and services companies, then it's make or break. You think about the electric vehicle industry. You know, a lot of these small players that started up in the electric vehicle space are crashing and burning right now. It's kind of sad, but it happens in every new technology. A lot of new vendors wade in, and they're going to try to make their mark, and many of them don't succeed. And the consolidation is when the mergers and acquisitions happen. The big companies that have been in that space for a long time are going to absorb them. They're going to acquire them, right? And for some little companies, that's their entire exit strategies, to be acquired. Many of them fail. So that makes the job market on that side of the new things, it makes it a little rocky sometimes. So that consolidation happens as the market stabilizes. And then over time, we go down the slope with bloat. And what happens here is you've got 3, 4, 5 viable companies that have survived that new thing. Their products work, they're doing well in the market, and then they start to imitate one another, and they add features to copy their competition, which makes their product larger than it originally was. And you're probably thinking of some examples right now. I mean, I'm thinking of like Microsoft Teams and Zoom right now, for example, and Slack for that matter. I'm doing I want to do a video call, but now any one of these solutions is copying features from the others and bloating that original lean, fast product that we all enjoyed. So there's bloat that happens. You can apply this to any technology. Again, I just use video conferencing for an example. And then that old thing kind of sits in the dust later at the bottom of this bell curve because technology has moved on. You don't want your career to sit there in the dust, and you don't want to be using technology that's 20 years old. I mean, some people, there's still a market for COBOL programmers today because there's mainframes and AS400s and some big iron in the basement of some of these companies. And I've heard even in the last few years that IBM's still recruiting mainframe operators, but for the rest of us, we're going to stay riding that wave of new things. That's kind of an exception with the mainframes, right? Anyway, so how do and then between old and new things, you can build a career on being the integrator, the upgrader, the migrator to get the old thing moved up to the new thing, right? So there's an opportunity there. So now here's what you do. The name of the game is don't get stuck in your career, in your technology, right? Eat change for breakfast. Change is technology. We're in this industry where there's lifelong learning. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to keep up. So what you do is you chain these new things to build a career path. So I do new thing 1, and then that thing starts to peak, starts down the other side. I'm looking at the winds and the waves of the technology industry, and I'm saying, okay, it's time to pick up that next new thing, next new thing, next new thing, and I just chain these new things together so I don't get stuck in my career, and I get to continually explore new things, which is why a lot of us chose this field. We like to play with tech. We like the new things, right? So that is one way you can build a career, all right? Now, somebody's got to pay you to play with that new thing, right? So you're going to solve problems with the technology in the context of an industry vertical. So think about it. I work in the technology field at a software company called Tanium. People work in finance and retail, manufacturing, sports, government, healthcare, entertainment, hospitality, you name it. Pick any industry that you are passionate about. A lot of times working for a company is part of the mission. Here at Tanium, we're defending our way of life in every vertical, in every industry, right? That's part of kind of what we do. So, and making more secure computing with real-time data. Anyway, so we are in that technology vertical as a company, but we support all the other industries and help them be more secure, right? So as a general IT career, technology career path, somebody's going to pay you to play with technology. Where do you want to go? All right. And you're going to solve business problems. I mean, AI is top of mind for everybody right now, so we have AI writing, customer service email replies, and people have to review those, make sure it's good before it goes out the door, human in the loop, right? Or somebody, AI is reading x-rays and to look for things and maybe catch things that humans missed, right? In healthcare, you name it, right? So you find a problem to solve in a vertical, and they'll pay you to play with that technology. All right, now when I was presenting this recently at a college career day, somebody said, "So how do I know which company to pick? You're talking about all this churn up, going up the wave of this new thing, technology, and these companies are spinning up. How do I know to pick the right company?" Well, you really don't know. I worked with a lot of people over the years who tried riding a bunch of different startups and had very different experiences. Some, did really well. There's those people that got in early at Microsoft or Facebook or Google, right? And then there's all the other startups that never made it. So welcome to the game. This is $1 million question. Now, how do you know how to pick the right company in your career? The first thing is building your network. The advantage I have after decades in the field is I've worked at multiple places, and I have multiple, many coworkers, former coworkers on LinkedIn in my network. And should the inevitable happen and something happen to my career, wherever I'm currently employed, I can lean into that network, right? Because I know people, and they've worked at some of these companies that they might be able to give me leads for opportunities to apply for. Tell me, "Oh no, I used to work there, but you really don't want to work for that company." Or, "Yeah, this company's culture is amazing. You really want to go there," right? So you can use your network to learn more about other companies. What's the best kind of company to gauge, to pick from, right? Also, in building your networking, COVID was 5 years ago. Go out there, shake hands with people, meet people. A lot of times in these major metropolitan areas, it's all the same people just playing musical chairs at the companies, right? You got 4, 5, 6 big companies typically, and kind of, I live in the Midwest. Pick any, capital, state, city, big city, right? And you've got some major employers, and they just all play musical chairs with the IT talent in that market. Typically that's happens. So you build your network, getting to know the companies, getting to know people you work with. But go to like meetup.com, eventbrite.com. There's tons of local user groups for technology specific domains, and you can go meet people there, build your network, and begin to understand, okay, what's in this opportunity, in this job posting I just saw. Who's somebody that may used to work there. Connect with all these people on LinkedIn. All right, build your network out. Also, well, there's Discords and Slack instances for a lot of these local tech communities that you can get plugged in and network online that way as well. And then evaluate the business model. If it's a publicly traded company, you can actually go look at their SEC filings. Go to scroll to the bottom of this prospective employer's webpage. Look at their investor relations area. Look at their reports that they filed. Do they have positive cash flow? Are you going to get to this company and then it tanks? Look at some of that stuff if it's available, right? Also, I would encourage you to look at the character of the people running the company. When I interviewed here at Tanium, I got to my final interview with the founder of the company, the co-founder, and his first question to me out of the gate in our interview was, "Where do you get your moral compass?" Right away, I knew that this was going to be a great place to work. If the founders are concerned about people's morality and ethics, we had a great faith conversation as part of that interview. So, because I'm saying this because I've talked to people in the industry who've gone to work for companies where the executive leadership team had moral issues. So if you're looking for stability in a company, look for stability in the leaders. And and a lot of times that's something you can't really gauge externally, but your network can help you know, hey, these people really do the right thing. That's one of our Tanium values is we do the right thing. And that's important to look for as well. So the really, how do I navigate, find the right company for these opportunities? That's a hard one. That's why I put down here to last, alchemy, luck, and providence. I've been very blessed. God's been giving me a lot of big open doors with green lights. Hey, go this way. And it's just been an amazing career ride for me. Not everybody has that experience, and I'm aware of that. So luck, people define luck as when preparation meets opportunity, right? In this industry, we're constantly learning. That's preparation, right? Labbing things at home, building it out, learning it, putting in the sweat equity so that when that opportunity comes along, you look lucky, right? Preparation meeting opportunity. So those are some tips. There's nobody who's going to solve that for you, how to find the right company, but those are some things to look for in how to find the right company. And then lastly, I've given a whole talk on personal branding for several years. So, but just a quick synopsis here. So, what if you build a public persona as the answer person, right? That can turbo your career, just like those little speed up things in Mario Kart. Sorry, I've only played Mario Kart maybe once in my life. Some of you know better what those are called, but when you hit that little speed pad, right, in your video game and you go faster, that's what personal branding can do for your career. And you got to answer this question. When a prospective employer looks up my name online, what will they find? Will they find a big nothing? And they don't know who I am. I'm an unknown quantity. Or will they find my work on GitHub or YouTube or a podcast or a blog? Will they find something online? Did they see me speak at a conference? Right? Did they online, on stage, on camera, on message? Have they found anything from me that I contributed to the industry to set me out differently from the rest of the interviewing candidates? I was just talking to a hiring manager here last week, and he said in 3 days they got 50 resumes for an opening. And so that's what you're competing against in today's market. So how do you differentiate yourself? When I came to Tanium, that technical panel of your peers. It was an hour and a half interview, like the second or third interview that I did here. I got into that interview and actually enjoyed it. And one of the people interviewing me, of these three senior technical people, had been following my blog for 3 years. So it made it a really easy conversation to have. So personal branding really can open doors for your career. Well, how do I do that? What I tell a lot of people these days is journal your journey. Do that online. Hey, we're all learning things all the time in technology. Why don't you just journal your journey, right? Start a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, whatever. Pick your place where you want to make your mark, and then even use a combo of these. Here's some images I've used for my personal brand. You think about any particular product out there in the market, you've got a brand, a logo. My face is my logo with my goatee. And you can make your own logo, right? And usually a headshot's a great way to do that. Amp it up if you want a little bit, like I have. But anyway, I put that when I was at Microsoft, I built a blog. And then I had what I did so we've got these in-person ways to build a brand, written ways, audio, video, and then some monetization options if you're doing this on personal time outside your employer's time. Look at your conflict of interest policies at work, your moonlighting. Look at the moonlighting policy where you work, but you may be able to monetize some of this Writing books is not a way to make money in the IT field because they change over all the time. Technology moves too fast to make any money on books, but it'll get your name out there. So these that I've got the little boxes around are the ones that I chose when I was building my brand. I kind of stumbled into it, really. I started blogging some everyday things that I found to be helpful as I was learning PowerShell and doing Active Directory back in the day, and started blogging about that, and people started finding it and was answering their questions. And I did one blog post a month because that's what I could manage with my workload, and I'd do a lot of lab time and really research it out, document it thoroughly. And people were spending, these weren't like little marketing blog posts with 200 words, right? These were like pages long, and people were spending 10, 15 minutes in my web traffic stats, which was huge for people reading content because it was deep and it was what they needed and it was answering things. And so then I had social media representation with the same little headshot everywhere, the same username. I'd speak at conferences, code sharing, that's GitHub, right? Had a GitHub out there, some YouTube videos, and everything just kind of links back to my blog. That's where I made my home base. And so, right now, my home base is this YouTube channel playlist that you're watching. Pick where you want to make your mark. And I've had this conversation with multiple audiences. And one audience, somebody said, hey, I'm on the spectrum, or I'm neurodivergent, and I have social anxiety. I don't want to be in front of people. I don't want to talk to people like you do. And I said, well, that's fine. You can create an anonymous personal brand like Swift on Security on Twitter or X, over 100,000 followers, and nobody knows who that person is. Or you can write a blog and nobody has to ever see you, but just make it your own, right? You can just mix it up, find some things here that you want to do, and just journal your journey, because everybody else is learning. Beginner content is huge when it comes to building your personal brand. A lot of people just getting started. So pick that technology, that vertical, and make up your niche, and then start blogging about it, or create a podcast, YouTube channel, and tell people what's happening as you're going along. As you're learning, people start following you because you've got the answers that they were just looking for. So that's how one small piece of how you can begin to build your personal brand. So here's the formula. Okay, we've kind of spent all the time on the show so far to get to this point. All right. So how do you build your own technology career path? So you pick your new thing, then you kind of pick your your big new thing and your little new thing. Okay, so here's this big technology that's coming out. Here's this vendor or this framework, whatever it is that I'm going to work with. Think we got AI right now. You got the NIST risk management framework for AI. You got different things. Right? Pick what your new thing is. Pick your mode. Am I going to sell it? Am I going to support it? Am I going to be the expert? I'm going to take the hardware, software angle, whatever mode. Pick your vertical. Who's going to pay you to play with that technology? What kind of business problems are you going to solve with that technology? And then rub some personal branding on it. And that personal branding is going to be your accelerator. It's going to get you to become a known quantity in that little niche of the industry. And then that's what we call a niche. A niche is the intersection of one or of two or more specialties. So if we look at this slide here, it's the intersection of things. Pick your combo move, right? Up, down, BBA, right shoulder button. Pick your combo move. All right, here you go. Pick your big new thing. Pick a little new thing. And so maybe, for example, you're, when cloud technologies really became big, maybe you're an expert in migrating between Azure and AWS, right? Or taking workloads from server-based to container-based with Kubernetes. I mean, you pick anything on here and choose your own adventure, and then I'm going to do that in the retail vertical, and I'm going to have a blog about it, right? Whatever, just kind of, these are the tumblers in your technology career decoder ring. Dial in the tumblers, and that becomes your career niche. And literally, you can make a niche anywhere you want with this formula. And so the things on the left here kind of have a high rate of change. Big new things coming along like decades long, but the little new things, the companies are spinning up and shutting down all the time. new things. There's a lot of churn in that little new thing category. The modes are timeless. There's a low rate of change there. The verticals, personal branding, those kind of modes don't change much. So you're just, remember, riding that curve. And so you pick the new thing, what you want to do with that new thing, who's going to pay you, what kind of problems you want to solve with that new thing, what kind of branding method you want to use, and all of a sudden there's a 1,000 combinations here of different career paths you can make for yourself. So for those of you who are open to work right now, think about, okay, what do I have in my bag of tricks? What have I learned? What are the old things that what migration paths, what upgrade integration paths maybe I can do with the new thing to that old thing that I know, right? So lots of opportunities here, and it's really up to you to choose your own adventure. Now, I want to talk about new things and old things in context of people as an old thing in technology. All right. So new things, juniors in the field, whether you're a student or a fresh graduate and you're trying to make your mark. All right. You're a junior in this field and you only have new thing knowledge. And a lot of times you look at that as a deficit of all the old things you don't know about, but you've got the new thing that the old things don't know about yet. And you can move fast and you're excited, you're passionate. That's your advantage. Okay. Don't look at that as a negative. But let's talk about the OGs, the seniors. All right. So we've got old thing 1, old thing 2, old thing 3, all this knowledge of different career waves that we've ridden over our technology waves that we've ridden over our career. And then there's this new thing that comes out now. And us old things are not as excited about learning the new thing. If we're honest. Now, it depends on who you're talking to. After 40 years, I've stayed in the technology field because I do enjoy new things. I really do. But we're just maybe not going to be as fast about it as the new things, right, that are just graduating from high school or college. So we probably move a little slower, but that's okay because we've got some perspective. We want to, maybe some people have wait and see attitude, but together, all right, the juniors, the new things, can teach the old things, the new things. All right. So the juniors can teach the seniors the new things. The seniors can mentor the juniors. And then together you can collaborate for integration, migration, upgrades, and everybody wins. So the point of this is, regardless of which side of this you're on, or even if you're in the middle, find a mentor and a collaborator in this field and work together, help one another in your careers to grow and to serve others. So juniors and seniors, there's a lot of opportunity to work together here. I've been a mentee. I have mentored others. Pay it forward and mentor others. And if you're a mentee, if you don't have a mentor, if you're a junior, work through your network, right? And don't be afraid to ask people, hey, would you mentor me? Somebody once told me that you should have somebody inside your company at your level, or just maybe one notch above your level as a mentor, somebody outside your company, maybe 2 levels above you as a mentor, and somebody who's maybe a soft skills mentor versus a technology hard skills mentor. Lots of options for mentoring there. So the bottom line is you should be in a mentoring relationship on either side of this. All right. So let's take a practical example here. AI is all the rage these days. And so this slide was kind of built around thinking about Microsoft Security Copilot and our Tanium integration that we have. Okay. So think about this in terms of old things, new things, big new things, little new things. So in the world of AI, we've got this chat experience where I want to, let's say I'm a SOC engineer, a security operations center engineer, and I want to be able to enter prompts and return prompts, and those are going to help me as I am fighting malware in my environment every day, doing threat hunting and so forth, right? So I'm entering my prompts in this experience that goes to an AI engine of some kind that does skills matching. It looks up, hey, they typed this thing, that probably means they're looking for this other thing, which sends these requests then to back end systems where you've got API integrations, automation, tooling, and so forth. And then that tooling is going actually to the very end level of where the data resides physically in the environment, whether that's log files or servers or databases, wherever. And then it's extracting all that via these API calls in the middle tier systems, serves it up to the AI engine, which does all of its AI magic, and then gives you the returned output, right? So just think about this architecture diagram in terms of the old things and new things. All right. Maybe I'm a junior in my career and I'm typing in prompts and I don't understand where all this goes off in the back end and then comes back with the answer. I need to learn that, right? And maybe as a new thing, a junior, you have learned how to write and build some of these things, right? Well, that's where the seniors come in because we've been in the field for a while. We know where the logs are buried on the servers, right? We know where the tools and we know some of the API interfaces maybe, so we can help and start working as seniors in the industry to build some of those connecting points. And then we just meet in the middle, plug this all in, rub some AI magic on it, and all of a sudden we got a solution. Because think about it, every company is hearing about this. They're wanting these efficiencies. Somebody's got to actually build that, right? AI is not going to take your job. Somebody, you can actually use that to your advantage and be the person that's writing the plumbing on the back end that AI needs to work, right? So obviously here, Tanium is the real-time data source that feeds the AI engine. It's a match made in heaven. It's perfect. So just think about that from a career standpoint. If you want to ride the current AI security landscape, working with Copilot or whatever, lots of opportunity here because somebody's got to build those integrations, and that requires new thing and old thing knowledge. Tanium, just a quick mention of Tanium here. I work for Tanium. We're doing some things right now with what they call agentic AI. We've got autonomous endpoint management. I just said insert marketing slide here, right? You've heard marketing pitches before, but we're really investing in this AI space with autonomous endpoint management. Some of the things you've seen on the show have been just jaw-dropping, amazing, fun, and that's why I say this on the show all the time. I've been in IT or technology for 40 years, and to see some of this kind of stuff come around it actually is rather amazing. So we're doing this agentic, they call it now, integrations with Microsoft and ServiceNow. We just announced some things just this last week or two that we're working on there. It's really amazing. And what's funny about this is our original founders of Tanium, they wanted this environment where computers talk to one another. And one computer would say, hey, I've got this problem. And the other computer said, yeah, I fixed this last week. Here's the fix. And they would just become self-healing and kind of gossiping about to one another about what their performance issues or whatever were, and they would kind of create this self-healing, self-governing, computing environment for everyday servers and workstations, right? And so with this autonomous endpoint management, we're kind of seeing that stuff begin to become a reality, which is just crazy. Who would have thought that we'd get to live and see this kind of amazing technology, right? And so your kids and your grandkids are going to have new technology that is going to make us look old one day, but you get to be a part of that story, and that's fun. So I hope you've enjoyed the talk here so far. So just to recap, here's your technology industry career path, right? You pick your new thing, what implementation of that new thing, you pick your mode. What are you going to do with the technology? Are you going to be the expert? Are you going to be the seller? Are you going to be the compliance expert? Pick whatever you're going to do with that technology. Pick your vertical, who's going to pay you for it, what business problems you're going to solve with it. Rub some personal branding on it, and then you have a powerful career niche that will really accelerate your career, get you noticed. And you can start sharing about those things on LinkedIn, and before you know it, you'll have some followers, and opportunities actually can come to you. I know it's hard to see that right now, but if you build this over years, you build a reputation as a person who's finding answers and helping others, and people will begin to seek you out. So here you go. Here's your big combo. Remember, this is your technology industry decoder ring. Dial the tumblers, make a niche for yourself. It's just like classing in a MMORPG game, right? What class are you going to make your character, right? What race, what class, what are they going to do, right? Think of your career that way. And again, dial it in. There's all these fun combinations you can come up with. So that's my perspective on 40 years from 80s to AI and how my career has gone. I hope this has been helpful for you. And this is fun. It's still fun. I wouldn't be doing it if it weren't fun. It's a lot of fun. And I hope that you're able to, and it's a lot of hard work though. It's not just all fun. There's a lot of hard work involved, but that hard work will pay off. So let's go. Let's have more fun. Here's a QR code. Is it a Rickroll QR code? I don't know. It might take you to my LinkedIn. If you would like to friend me on LinkedIn, connect, and you can leverage my network as you're building your own. And feel free to shoot me a note if this is helpful for you. There's a lot more we could talk about. I realize it's kind of running long already, but so much we could talk about in this space of building your career in technology. And maybe one of these days we'll get to sit down over a cup of coffee or something and talk some more. But I hope this has been helpful for you. So until next time, go Tanium.